Let's talk crypto. This is probably one of the most requested video topics on my channel, and seeing how the crypto market is booming right now, I'm sure many people are at home wondering, should I invest in crypto? Is it not too late? Or is all of this not just one big Ponzi scheme scam that will collapse completely in the near future? I told myself that if the price of one Bitcoin ever reaches 1 million Rand, then I will make a video about cryptocurrencies. And would you know it, Bitcoin just broke the 1 million Rand mark. So here we are. So in today's video, I will tackle these questions and give you my thoughts on if I believe that crypto is a valid investment, if it is still early enough to jump into the crypto market, and how much of your portfolio you should consider allocating to the cryptocurrencies. And yes, I do need to give the boring old chant that I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice and yada yada yada. Hear what I have to say, keep an open mind, but most importantly, do your own research so that you can make your own informed decision. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's club cryptocurrency. Okay, first off, there's no way that I can explain all of crypto in one single video, and I'm not going to try either, as there are many other creators on YouTube that can do a much better job than what I can. So I will link to their videos down in the description that you can check out if you have absolutely zero knowledge about what crypto, Bitcoin or blockchain is. So make sure to go watch those videos first and then come back to this video. Otherwise, you might feel a little bit lost. Alright, so when I started reading up on crypto around about July this year, I came across a very interesting article from a creator that I'm sure you are all very familiar with, namely Stealthy Wealth. I will link to his article down in the description, but in essence, he was answering the question of when the right time was to invest in cryptocurrency all the way back in June 2018. He explained that the market cycle of Bitcoin at the time reminded him a lot of a graph called the Gartner hype cycle, which illustrates the adoption of a new technology as it transitions through 5 different phases. The cycle starts with a massive amount of excitement from the over-exaggeration of the new impact and usefulness of the new innovative technology called the technology trigger, reaching a peak of inflated expectations where the media publicity shoots the value of the tech way up, followed by reduced interest as the true usefulness is questioned, reaching the trough of disillusionment, and then second and third generation products which uses this technology in a more widely accepted and useful way emerge, which is called the slope of enlightenment, eventually reaching a plateau of productivity in which the value increases slowly over time. The short and sweet version of all of this is nicely summarized by Amara's law, which states that we tend to overestimate the effect of a technology in the short run and underestimate the effect of the technology in the long run. Now, seeing that Bitcoin is the biggest and most dominant cryptocurrency with the largest market cap, he believed that Bitcoin is a relatively accurate proxy for cryptocurrencies in general, and that the price of Bitcoin is kind of like a good indication of the potential and future usefulness of cryptocurrencies. So then he compared the price of Bitcoin from 2017 up until mid-2018 with the hype cycle chart to draw the conclusion that at that time it seemed that cryptocurrencies were between the trough of disillusionment and the slope of enlightenment. He also compared the 5 phases of the cycle with different aspects of cryptocurrencies in general that I would really encourage you to go read, as I believe that he was spot on with his observations. Now, what is most interesting to me is not necessarily what the crypto market cycle looked like back in 2018, but rather what it looks like today, a full 3 years later. Does it look familiar? Any resemblance you can notice? The peak of 2018 in the Bitcoin price is now completely overshadowed by the 2 peaks we saw in March 2021 and the one we are currently seeing in November 2021. So if we paste the current graph of crypto on the hype cycle chart, it is almost an identical match. So according to this theory, we are currently on the slope of enlightenment. But where will this trend lead to? Will we look back on this graph in about 3 years' time and have another peak that completely overshadows the current peak? Or will everything just go up in a cloud of smoke and leave enthusiastic crypto investors empty-handed and in tears? When we put our money into crypto, are we investing or are we actually just gambling? Well, in order to answer these questions, we need to explore the actual usefulness of Bitcoin and crypto in general. So when it comes to crypto, you probably noticed that there are many different coins with many different uses or usefulnesses. But all of them can be broadly classified as either having speculative value or intrinsic value. Speculative value basically means the coin has no real value or does not contribute anything of substantial value to improve modern society. The only way that you'll make money from these coins is if the fool after you are willing to pay more money for the coin that you did. Your profit or loss will be based on the emotions of the market and basically nothing else. And yes, I'm speaking about you, Dogecoin and Shiba. If you haven't lived under a rock like Patrick the past couple of months, then you must have heard about the ridiculous returns of these meme coins. But just as the values went up very fast, it also came down crashing very fast. Some people made millions, while millions others lost a lot of money. These speculative coins usually have a large and strong community behind them, and their value is easily influenced by popular influencers, aka what Elon Musk decides to tweet for the day. And from my own experience, by the time we, the common folk, hear about these massive gains from these altcoins, chances are that we already missed the bus and will probably just invest our money at the top of the peak, only for a man-child like Elon Musk to decide he doesn't like the coin anymore, causing its value to plummet. Don't get me wrong, I have immense respect for Elon, especially since he was born only 200 kilometers away from my own hometown, but I just don't think that it is good that one single person can have so much influence on the markets and thus the financial outcome of millions of people around the world. These coins are often promoted by other influencers, be it on YouTube, TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, as get-rich-quick schemes, tapping into the gullibility and the vulnerability of desperate people who are in dire need of cash, especially old people who haven't saved enough for retirement or those who are addicted to gambling. This is dangerous, as many people have lost their entire life savings by following these influencers' advice, by YOLOing everything that they own into a piece of garbage that eventually went to zero. Anyway, I guess you can see that I am definitely not in favor of putting a single cent into these altcoins, aka coins, as they have no intrinsic value which can support their use in the real world. At least not for me. Alright, so let's now look at coins who actually do have intrinsic value, meaning which actually do contribute to improving modern society. These coins are known to disrupt different systems, meaning that they enable real-life uses that are not available anywhere else. First up is Bitcoin, of course. Bitcoin is a form of digital currency that is not regulated or controlled by any financial institution, government or corporate entity. So why is this important? Well, if we look at what happened to Zimbabwe, what is currently happening in South Africa, and what had happened to many third world countries all around the world, I'm sure that we can all agree that corrupt government bodies can completely run a country into the ground. How do they do this? They steal, borrow, steal what they borrowed, and borrow to pay off what they owe. This quickly turns into a massive snowball effect of debt that the country cannot keep up with, causing the government to turn to its citizens for help by increasing the taxes, which causes inflation to rise, which means that today's rand is worth much less tomorrow. And if all of this happens at a very rapid pace, then the country will go into a period known as hyperinflation, which means it needs to print more money in order to pay for the inflated price of common goods or services. This is what happened to Zimbabwe in mid-November 2008, where the Zimbabwean dollar lost half its value every 24 hours, resulting in notes being printed that were worth 100 trillion Zimbabwe dollar, which eventually was worth less than the paper it was printed on. So now that we have a coin that can act as a currency in third world countries whose fiat currencies are plagued by ongoing wars and runaway inflation, people can actually maintain their net worth and not be worried that their entire life savings will be turned obsolete by an individual or group of individuals that have too much power. So a cryptocurrency that can bring a mobile accessible medium of exchange to these people will have a massive potential of widespread adoption. Some analysts even believe that cryptocurrencies will eventually replace sovereign currencies such as the US dollar and the euro sometime in the near future, which is not that unlikely, seeing that even mighty America also seemed to keep on printing a ton of money to try and keep up with its debt, causing major companies like Tesla and Square to convert some of their US dollar treasury reserves into Bitcoin as a way to hedge against expected deflation and depreciation in the value of the US dollar. And while we are on this topic, Morgan Stanley recently analyzed the role of the US dollar as an international reserve currency and compared it to the 5 other great powers that previously enjoyed the reserve status, going back all the way to the 1400s. First it was Portugal, then Spain, then the Netherlands, then France, and then Britain. These reigns lasted around about 94 years on average each. Now, as of the start of 2020, the US dollar's run had endured 100 years, which is reason enough to question how much longer it will continue, or if perhaps there is a new kid on the block that is desperately trying to replace it. Food for thought. Okay, next let's look at Ethereum, which is currently the second largest cryptocurrency in the world. Ethereum is not a currency per se, but rather a platform that provides smart contracts. And no, a smart contract is not a contract you take out for your smartphone at Cell C. Get your head out of the sand, man. Smart contracts is a disruptive technology that makes use of decentralized finance or DeFi. In essence, these types of smart contract cryptos enables the user to cut out the middleman and set up contracts directly between the user and the provider. So why is this useful? Well, I'm sure that you are all aware of the large chunk the middleman, aka the financial advisor or asset manager or insurer broker, take out of the fee pie that you will need to pay to, for example, get insurance for yourself or your household items. We typically need to hire someone called a broker who acts on our behalf to manage our investments and our insurance policies, and for their service we need to pay a fee. Also, think what needs to happen when you buy a house. Chances are you will need to pay a real estate agent, a lawyer, a bank manager, and a bunch of other individuals just to transfer the ownership from the previous person to you. Now, these transactions are often littered with fees and sometimes even fraud that can easily be avoided with decentralized finance, as these smart contracts allow you, the user, to set up a contract or agreement directly with the provider, thereby cutting out many of these fee-devouring middlemen. But I know what you are thinking. Peter, I heard the other day that Bitcoin crashed again. How can I be sure that I will have the massive gains on my investments that I've heard on the news so many times before? Well, to be honest, you can't. You cannot be sure about the return from any investment. That is why you need to understand where you are putting your money towards. But to try and answer your concern, between 2010 and May of 2021, Bitcoin has been declared worthless over 411 times by major media news outlets. Yet, for all of its divisiveness, Bitcoin has clocked a 210% compound annual growth for the last decade, making it the best performing asset over this period and the fastest asset ever to reach a $1 trillion market value. It did this in less than 12 years, where it took Microsoft, for example, 44 years to reach the same $1 trillion mark. But aren't we all in just another big bubble, just as we were in 2017, that will soon be ready to pop? I don't think so. In 2017, it was everyday people, the common folk like you and me, known as retail investors, who were the driving force behind the price of Bitcoin. And while we are still a powerful factor in the current bull run, the arrival of large-scale institutional investors has been a game changer for Bitcoin, which I believe will only continue to go up as more companies adapt to using the blockchain technology. Alright, so there are also many other coins with many other uses that I will not cover today. But I'm sure you can see that there's at least some reasoning behind the madness of wanting to get into the investing world of crypto. So now we need to decide, how much do you need to invest? Now, seeing that crypto is still relatively new and not accepted by many financial institutions, it is seen as a very risky investment, much riskier than the previous champion, namely shares. You need to understand that these oaks are very volatile, so you should expect to see a lot of instability in your portfolio. Cryptocurrencies are far less predictable than traditional investments, and therefore you should only allocate a small percentage of your investment portfolio to cryptocurrencies. Most financial experts advise 2 to 5% for the average Joe, but if you are still young, you have a long investment horizon, and you have a very high risk tolerance, I believe that it is reasonable to bump it up to between 5 and 10%. So, what is my conclusion and final verdict? I strongly believe that blockchain technology is here to stay for the long run. Not the coins that feed on the market's emotion, but those who actually have true intrinsic value and who actually solve real-world problems for people across many different geographies, age groups, and wealth statuses. The invention of blockchain technology in 2009 began a cycle of innovation that is likely to continue to revolutionize financial services and other industries for many years to come. Also, crypto has little to no correlation to other investments, meaning that when one investment zigs, crypto tends to zag. While economic growth, interest rates, and unemployment impact the returns of more traditional investments, user adoption, blockchain processing speeds, and regulatory developments impact cryptocurrency prices. I therefore view crypto as another form of diversification to my overall investment portfolio, and I am therefore currently allocating around about 5% of my investment portfolio to crypto, with the idea that if it continues to evolve and grow at its current rapid rate, that I will get a lucky boost to my overall investment performance. But also, if it completely tanks, then I won't be scarred beyond repair on my total lifetime savings. So guys, don't be an idiot. Don't go and cash out your retirement annuity to buy Floki Ino coin just because Elon Musk got a new dog. If you have the means, then use a little bit of cash to cautiously experiment with crypto. But if you barely make ends meet, rather prioritize safer traditional investments like shares, property, bonds, and cash within a tax-free savings account, as this should always be your first priority to fill up every month. So, what do you think? Do you think that the crypto market will continue to bloom in the next couple of years? Let me know down in the comments. And in my next video, I will show you all the different ways in which you can invest in crypto in South Africa. So if you are new to my channel and you are interested in investing in crypto, then make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out. And if you guys found any value in this video, then I would really appreciate it if you can just bump the like button so that this video can be promoted to more people by the YouTube algorithm. I would really appreciate it, and you will make my day. Anyways guys, that is all for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video next week. Cheers.